you've worked all your career at Shondaland. By working closely with Shonda Rhimes, what is it that you've picked up from her as a visionary, as a creator, that you've also kind of incorporated into your own craft and your own vision?
Shonda has a real knack for telling stories that are unexpected, I think. My training as a writer is really rooted in structure and character, but structure in a big way in terms of, following the beats of a story. But Shonda, I think she challenges me to think outside of the box and, think about what I would really want to see as a viewer rather than just writing what feels like it should, what feels like, what should happen. And that I think creates much more, talk-worthy moments and moments that surprise people and make people swoon.
Yeah, that's right. So you moved to London to work on these two seasons of Bridgerton. Is that correct?
I did, yes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
moved to London.
But
I've been in London for 4 years now.
yeah, and how has that been like? Because I'm sure it's a huge shift, it's a drastic shift on a personal front. But professionally, how has that helped you to, know the land better? Because the story is from the land that you're telling. And, how did you get a sense of what that land is made of, its fragrance, what its history entails, and has that kind of carried that through in the show?
It's funny because Bridgerton is such a fantasy. It's also a fantasy of London. Like our version of London is basically sunny 365 days a year, which is so inaccurate. So in many ways, and because it's the 1800s, I feel like what has really helped inspire the show is going to museums here, going to the countryside and visiting the National Trust sites and, taking in the architecture from that era and things like that. But actually living in London, I think that would inspire a whole other show, but it probably doesn't translate much to Bridgerton, to be honest.
No, makes sense. And it was a pleasant surprise to see India's very own Banita Sandhu in season three as Miss
Yeah,
Malhotra.
she's
So,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, so what was the process of, having casting her and having her as a face there? And what does that mean to you as a showrunner?
Yeah, when we were casting for fresh faces for our mamas, I think every season we want to have new debutantes and new mamas. And I remember seeing Benita's tape, and, she just has a real warmth to her, but she also has this very charming sense of humor where, she can kind of come into the ton and be one of the gossiping mamas, and you feel like she has very discerning taste and a discerning eye. So it was really lovely getting to work with her.